What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create these cool custom album covers for yourself. So I've made a bunch of them in the past and I have a lot of experience. So I'm going to tell you guys what you should and shouldn't do. The first thing you guys want to do is figure out what album you want to recreate. Now this part is pretty important. You can create most albums, but some are just too complex. So for example, this album here would be a good choice to try to recreate, but something like this, it might be a little bit too complicated and it might lag your computer, but it's possible. But I recommend starting with something more simple to start off. So for this example, I'm gonna do this album cover by Yeet. The first step is to save this photo to your hard drive. So let's save it. And now what I'd like to do is to come over to ChatGPT and open a new chat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to upload our picture. So let's upload our picture, open. And I've created this prompt that helps create these album covers like way more efficiently. I'll link it in the description. So I'm going to copy this prompt, Control C, and paste it. So now we're just going to send it to ChatGPT and let it cook up. Okay, so it might take a little bit of back and forth with ChatGPT until you get your image created, but eventually you'll get something that looks like this. So this image we created right here is perfect. It has simple designs, clear colors, and it's just perfect overall. So I personally like to use this tool called Inkscape to create the DXFs. So right now we have a simple image and we want to create it to a DXF. A DXF will basically trace around the outline for you and it'll make it possible so you can import it into your CAD of choice and turn it into an album. Now this might sound complex and confusing, but it's honestly pretty simple. So what you want to do is you want to download Inkscape on your computer and you want to choose New Document. Now while this is opening, if you don't have a computer and you don't really have access to Inkscape, there's a workaround for this. What I like to do for this workaround is head over to this website right here, and it can turn your images into DXFs, which is perfect, but sometimes it's a little bit unreliable. So, like as you can see for this one, it cut off part of my album because it's just unreliable. So I like to use Inkscape because I feel like I can trust it a little bit more, but yeah, so I'm going to show you guys how to do it with Inkscape. So we're in our blank Inkscape document, and we're going to head over to the top and click on File, Import, and now we're just going to find the image and click Open. Click OK. So now we have our image right here. We're going to pull it over, scale it down so it fits on the paper. Click off. So now what we want to do is choose the image, choose path, choose trace bitmap. And now it's going to be tracing along the outside. So there's the computer is going to be trying to create this image with the amount of lines. So what we want to do is we want to choose multicolor scan at the top here. And you want to scan for how many different colors you have. So in this thing, I only have 3 colors. So I'm going to do 3 scans. But sometimes it glitches, so you can do a little bit more until you see the details you want. So as you can see, it has all the details I want. So now we're going to head over to these settings. I like to turn smooth corners all the way down. And sometimes I turn speckles. So basically what speckles is it'll ignore sharp corners and little dots in the DXF, which will kind of simplify it. But I feel sometimes it messes it up. So I kind of like to keep it at 0 or maybe like 10. And then optimize, I like to turn it up to maybe like 1.5. You can mess around with this. Sometimes it'll optimize it too much and get rid of details, and sometimes it won't optimize enough and it'll lag your document. So let's leave it at a 1 and see how that works. Sometimes you have to do some back and forth from this to the thing to figure everything out. So let's click apply. And if we zoom in, we can see that it didn't include the gray. So that's okay. We'll just delete that, come up here and add some more scans, Click apply. Still didn't work. Okay, so after a little bit of messing around with it, we managed to get the DXFs working correctly. Sometimes if the multicolor one isn't working, I recommend going over to the single scan and you can just adjust it to find the correct things for you. So now what we want to do is we want to go into our document and we want to delete this reference image we use. So delete, and now we're left with our DXF. So if we click on this tool over here, you can see all the lines it created. So it doesn't seem like there's too much, so it should work. Now we're going to go over to here and click File, Save As, and you can just name this. Let's name this Album 1, Album 11. And you want to click Save As and choose DXF R12, R14, sorry. And click Save. Okay. So now it should be saved to your hard drive. So if we look in our thing, right here, this is the DXF. I like to make my albums in Onshape, but you can also do the same process in Fusion and probably some other ones, but those are the only two I'm familiar with. But I'm gonna show you how to do it in Onshape. So go over to the top, click Create, choose Document, and you can name this document. So this will be Yeet Create. Just wait for it to load. Now the first thing I like to do is hide the front and the right plane. It just makes it simpler to look at. So we'll click Top. Now you want to sketch on the top plane, do an Insert DXF. So we're going to insert our DXF, and you want to click on this Import button, choose our DXF, so Album 11, open. So now we have it imported. We want to make sure this is millimeters or else it'll be way too big. So now we're going to click on it and click check. That worked really fast, so that's nice to see. So the first thing you want to do to make sure that everything worked correctly is you just kind of want to hover over and make sure that it's lighting up like this. Like as you can see, choose this section, it'll light up, which is perfect. Sometimes what will happen is if your DXF is too complicated, meaning there's too many of these dots, it'll just break the document and it won't allow you to do it. So yeah, you want to make sure that it looks like this. So this looks perfect to me. So what we're going to do now is we actually have to make this album cover. So if we go back to the reference, you can see that there is, let's actually go back to the ChatGPT image. You can see it accounted for 1, 2, 3 different images, or 3 different colors, sorry. So let's go over to here and let's first choose everything that is white. So from the image, you can see his hands and this little sign at the top, they're all white. So choose 1 hand, 2 hands, 3 hand, his watch face, this thing at the top, and okay, and also his hat and these words on his head. Okay, boom. Now let's click on extrude and maybe let's extrude this 0.11. I generally try to stay around this range because that's about this thickness, which is perfect. So click check. And as you can see, it hit our sketch. So what we want to do is we want to unhide and click on extrude again. So now let's extrude everything that's black in this image. So this is black. And I think that pretty much accounted for everything. So let's make this one 0.1. And click check. So now let's do this one more time for the third image, which is the gray. So let's choose extrude and choose all the gray. So just making sure to select them. Sometimes it'll start lagging, but that's okay. Okay, now let's extrude this one 0.12. Or actually, let's do 0.105. I like to make them at different heights so that it just gives it a little bit more depth, which just looks cool. So let's click check. Let's click check, and now we can hide our sketch, and we can look at what we've created. So this is the album cover. It looks pretty cool. So now you want to add some of the final touches. So if we look at his album, you can see it has this little parental advisory in the bottom corner, which could be cool to include. So I'm going to show you guys how to add that, because sometimes ChatGPT will get rid of it. So what I like to do is search up parental advisory logo. Click on this one. Let's save it to our computer. Now, this is actually a great tool for simplifying these easier images. So we're going to head over to here, click Upload PNG, choose this, open, convert to DXF, wait for it to load, download it. So as you can see, we have our parental advisory DXF. Go back to the document, sketch on here, insert DXF. We want to import our new, open, millimeters, and click on it and click check. So now we just have to wait for it to load. Okay, perfect. Now we have it loaded. So you want to select it and choose transform. So this allows you to manipulate it to the size and overall thing you want. So you can see where it is in the original album. So it's kind of small in the bottom left. So I'm actually going to make it maybe right around that size right here. Let's click check. So as you can see, it didn't create a box for it. So let's just quickly do that. Like this, drag it up. And you can kind of just eyeball this part. Okay, that looks good to me. So now if you look on the parental advisory logo, you want to extrude the white. Actually, let's just extrude everything. So I'm right now going to select everything that's supposed to be black. Okay, and let's choose the extrude option, and let's go for 0.0. Let's go for 0.01 inches. Check. So now this is being extruded 0.01, and now let's unhide the sketch and extrude all the parts that are supposed to be white. So white, white, white. Sometimes it'll glitch and you just choose new. So basically what's happening when it glitches is the geometry just is not being able to be solved. So it's just kind of lagging the document. Changing it to new is kind of like a, I don't know, it's kind of like a bad fix, but it works for me, so it'll probably work for you guys. And boom. Okay, we got everything selected, and let's extrude this by 0.05. Oh wait, no, sorry, 0.005. Okay, so now you can see we have the nice little parental advisory logo in the bottom corner. I think I might actually make that a little bit smaller, so you can just highlight the whole thing, transform, and just like that. Actually, maybe. Okay, I think that's perfect. So we'll click check. Now we have the album created, and we want to do some final touches. So I recommend choosing the fillet tool. You can click it at the top or do Shift F. And I like choosing all 4 corners and just rounding them out a little bit to give it a little bit cleaner of a finish. Let's choose that, that, and that. So now you can come here and pull it out. Don't want to pull it out too much. Okay, that looks good. And the next step is optional. I like to add a little hole in the top so you can hang it on your walls or hang it somewhere, but you don't have to do that. So I'm gonna show you guys how to create a hole. So do sketch, choose this plane. I like to just use this as a reference point, and then we'll go to the middle. It kind of highlights when it's at the middle, so that's nice. And then a good size for a hole is maybe like 0.15. Oh. Alright, so I think that size of hole should be good. And let's extrude it. Remove. So, sorry, I went past that. So you want to make sure the extrude is on remove and your sketch is selected, so then that'll remove it. And now we have our album successfully created in our CAD document. The next step is to export. So to export this, you want to click on the bottom here, right click, choose export. Let's name it Yeet. Make sure it's in STL format, and then the rest, I think it's good. I don't know if it matters. Export. And you'll see that it exported. Okay, perfect. Now we want to open up Bamboo Studios or whatever slicer you use, and you want to color it in. So let's add Heat. So now what I like to do is get my color palette ready. So I know I want a black, a gray, and a white. So now we want to choose color painting. And I like to do by height, as that reduces the amount of filament waste. So the first thing is going to be to go in with our gray. And let's just choose it like that. Okay, that looks good. Now let's go in with our white. Okay, that looks great. So that might have seemed really easy. Basically, since we had the different layer heights for the different colors, we can just use the height range tool. But say it wasn't going to let you do that because for some reason, you could also color it in using the fill tool. So say I wanted to make this part gray, you could just click on it and fill it, but that looks good for me. Let me just check. It's supposed to be black and white. So for this, there's like a slight issue, so I'm just going to fill in these white, because I think that's how they're supposed to be on the actual thing. So fill in white. Okay. And then you can fill in this part black. If you ever messed up, you can just click Control Z and that'll fix it most of the time. Okay, that looks much better. We can click Return to Document. And I like to turn the prime tower off because I don't really feel it's necessary. And then if you want to scale this up or down, you can also do that. But I think it looks good like this. So now I'm going to slice this plate up. And it's only going to take an hour and 35 minutes. So what I might actually do is choose my 0.2 millimeter nozzle, for some extra details to be added. So as you can see, that made it take longer, but those extra details are going to be worth it. Okay, so now all you need to do is just print it off. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you want more tutorials like this, just drop a comment and I'll see what I can do. Thank you guys, and subscribe.